to go to El Salvador to work to bring him home. The Trump administration themselves admitted in federal court that he was wrongfully abducted from the United States.
Truly incredible. This comes as House Democrats are reportedly planning to send a delegation to the mega prison where he's being held. Let's bring in the man himself. Where's our Tom Holmes?
Listen to this, folks.
Now, Tom, I just want to focus on one portion when the senator said that he was abducted. As the former leader of ICE, what do you say to him?
He wasn't abducted. He's an MS-13 gang member, classified as a terrorist that was removed from this country. So we got rid of a dangerous person, an El Salvadoran national, was returned to the country of El Salvador, so he's home. We removed him from the United States. He's a public safety threat. That's exactly what should have happened. And I'm just disgusted that any congressional representative is going to run to El Salvador at his aid. When yesterday, I read in his state, an illegal alien charged with murder was released back into the community, and not the ICE detainer wasn't honored, and ICE had to go find him. In his state, the murder of Rachel Murrin yesterday. Listen to the testimony and listen to the mother on Handy last night. If you're not human, then your heart wasn't broken. It's just in his state. But rather than taking care of the constituents in his state, the victims of illegal crime in his state, he's going to run to El Salvador to protect the MS-13 terrorists. It's just disgusting.
You just talked about that sound from Patty Moore and Rachel's mom. We actually have it. Let's play it.
I'm very angry. I'm actually outraged, but I'm too sad at the moment to show anger at the same time. There was no action on the Democratic Party in any way, from Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Mayorkas, anyone here in Maryland. None of the senators did anything to help search for the murderer of my daughter.
Tom, where were the phone calls? Where were the congressional delegations at her funeral, supporting her family when she was killed?
They don't care.
By an illegal.
They don't care. When further on in the testimony, in her interview, she talks about how her young daughter died, how she suffered, how she fought for her life, just like Laken Riley. For how long? 17 minutes she fought for her life. That young girl didn't want to die. So these congressmen and senators, how do these women die? Look how they fought for their lives. Do they have daughters? Do they have any care at all for American citizens that are victims of these crimes? But they're loud and screaming now about this MS-13 game. I mean, where were they when we had 12 million illegal aliens coming across the border? Where were they when we had 600% increase in sex trafficking? Where were they when we had 4,000 aliens dying making this journey under Joe Biden? Where were they when 250,000 Americans died from fentanyl? It's just ridiculous. Every day I can't believe what I'm hearing. Yesterday, I hear about a case in Washington State. 2 illegal aliens from Venezuela kidnapped and tortured and tried to kill a woman, robbed her using a power drill, torturing her, drilling through her hand. Every day I sit at the White House and hear these cases of sanctuary cities not helping ICE remove public safety threats from their communities.
Well, Tom, the proof is in the pudding, and we're looking at the border now, and there's just there's a stark contrast between the border now versus under Joe Biden. Here's some of the footage right there where you can see during the Biden years, and now look at it now. I mean, it's almost operational control, and it's just not the imagery. When you look at the numbers, 95% down when it comes to those crossing numbers. How are you able to get it done and so quickly with no legislation passed?
Because I worked for the greatest president of my lifetime, Donald Trump. He secured that border in 5 weeks. He did in 5 weeks what Joe Biden couldn't or wouldn't do in 4 years. Today, as we're talking right now, Lawrence, we have the most secure border in my lifetime right now because of President Trump's actions. And get back sanctuary cities, they want to keep their game going. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get together a Secretary Noem. We're going to flood these sanctuary cities with federal agents. If we can't arrest a bad guy in the jail, we're going to arrest him on the street. We got to do it stronger. We got to do it faster. If we can't do it in the streets, then we're going to increase worksite enforcement operations in those sanctuary cities. We're going to flood worksite enforcement operations. We can't arrest them at the home, then we'll arrest them at workplace. We're coming to sanctuary cities. We're going to put all hands on deck. Sanctuary cities are not going to get away with this illegality that's killing Americans at record numbers. I'm disgusted at every representative on the Hill who isn't fighting with ICE to arrest every public safety threat, every national security threat roaming around these communities. President Trump made a promise. We're going to keep that promise.
But the proof is in the pudding, as I said. He's definitely keeping his promises. So are you, Tom. Thanks for joining the show this morning.
Now, folks, if you made it this far in the video, I wanted you to understand. If Biden had closed the border 4.5 years ago, like Trump did in 5 weeks, you wouldn't have those young ladies had been murdered. You wouldn't have the sex trafficking. You wouldn't have all the fentanyl coming across. You wouldn't have the Chinese nationalists that were caught the other day. You wouldn't have all this. This has implications on my children and my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren. And now you've got several Democratic senators going to El Salvador to try to convince the president of El Salvador to come back or to bring back an El Salvadorian nationalist who's not an American citizen, who's been declared by 2 judges and U.S. and El Salvador intelligence that he is an MS-13 gang member. What the hell is wrong with you people? Why? And I'm speaking to y'all who are listening to this. Why do you keep voting Democratic? You got that Democratic senator from Maryland where that young lady was raped, tortured, and murdered, going down to bring back an MS-13 El Salvador nationalist. From the girl is from his state. Why are you people in Maryland? Why would you need to recall this dumb son of a pup? You people have got to get your brain in gear, get your head out of the sand. This is absolutely asinine. End of rant.